Hello, my friends, on this gorgeous Thursday, July the 3rd, 2025. Coming at you hot and heavy and as close to live as I can at the moment. I'm telling you, the stock market this year, my mind just goes crazy when I see things like this. This isn't the first time that it happened to me, okay? It happened to me back in 2023, towards the end of the year. I had a couple positions that I just had formulated a game plan. Okay, price most likely going to go here, I'm going to set up a trade here, and it played out just like that. I know this is getting a little crazy. If you're just joining in, this is an open book journal. I talk about all the trades that I do, my trading journey and everything, just to help myself and my friends just, understand some of the thought processes that go into somebody that trades every day. So, talking about back in 2023, in my trading journey, I had one of those moments where I had my first big moment of a beautiful couple of trading plans worked out beautifully. They go to where you expect and beyond. On high time frames, I'm talking about, on like daily and weekly time frames. So a couple of my big ideas really played out. And back then, I wasn't in any trades because that was my second year of trading, and I'm still consider myself extremely small capital type person. But back then it was like no capital at all. No. I'm in that learning phase still. And, in the learning phase, irresponsible traders like myself, just willy-nilly, kept just deposit money, lose it, But enough about that. So, getting to the point, a couple of years ago that happened to me where I see a couple of beautiful plays happen and I don't capitalize on them. That can be a little bit crushing psychologically because you work so hard and you're formulating a game plan, and because your risk management wasn't on point, okay, you didn't capitalize on the big giant move when it did happen. But it also did something else to me. It kind of started it kind of was the beginning of how do I say this? That moment was the beginning moment in my trading career where I knew I could never go back to not trading the markets. If that makes sense. Because seeing those ideas play out gave me the verification that I'm on the right track and I'm not crazy. I was thinking right in assessing that situation, that it was going to have a very high probability of going there. This year in the stock market, fast forward 2 years now, I'm in my 4th year of trading. Still no capital, very little capital, trading light, working my way up, digging myself out of the hole of them first few years of trading. But this year, it's happened again. I mean, think back, the Dollar General play, the S&P trade, especially the S&P 500 trade we had this year, the Chewy trade we had this year. It's happened again, where I, in my journey, have had a second round of overwhelmingly strong convictions that, man, I am on the right path here. I'm onto the market. I'm making the calls, so to speak. Okay? This ain't no bull crap talking about, oh, the 1 minute, okay, it's going to go back to the 50 EMA and then it's going to bounce from there and, make another higher high. This ain't no small time frame hot garbage, all right? This is big money plays here that I'm talking about. So this is my second round in my trading career of, wow, I really am onto, having some decent analysis onto the market, And now, being that I actually have recorded videos for the past couple years, I actually have proof, not to prove to anybody else, but just proof to myself and proof out there that I am on the right path on making certain prediction. I hate to say predictions, but certain assumptions on the higher chance of the market going there. And ARM is another one that we're talking about today. It's just, if you get to that point, this is I'm in outer space, my friends. This is brand new territory. Because you struggle for so long, and then you start to have those moments over time where you realize that probably can play out. Price is most likely going to go here because I've seen it happen before. When you get to that and they actually do start happening, not where I've seen this happen before but it doesn't play out, where you see I've seen this happen before and it plays out exactly like that, exactly as you projected, that's when I'm telling you, this year I know, because it's hitting me hard, wow, you are really onto it. So ARM is another example of that. And don't think it's all wins here, all right? I'm not a winning trader, by no means at all. My total career is still negative P&L. But I'm coming out of that. I'm coming up. I know that the end is in sight. Not the end, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to, like I spoke about the other day, keep working at your craft, not somebody else's. That's something that I struggled with too. This is a deep video today, my friends. That's something else that as a trader you can struggle with too, is, don't listen to me. I'm just sharing my thoughts in the hopes that maybe it can help you think differently to help you out. Because you can't listen to other people on the way that, just my opinion, you can't listen to other people on how they envision the market. Because I've said this 100 times. The market is unique to each individual person. Why? Because each individual person is unique and has a different perception. That's why there's so many different traders trading so many different styles and still making money. Okay? And a lot of traders that just copy and paste other people's ideas, they don't make money in the long run. Because I got into trading, at first there was that phase where I thought, okay, I'm just going to take people's calls. They put this idea out there, I'm going to take it with them. I'm going to trade with them. Don't do that. Don't ever trade what somebody else is trading. Never do that. That will get you burned more often than not, because you don't know exactly where they entered. Your stop, can you afford to have the same stop that they have? Okay? They have a wide berth on their trade, but you can't take that much risk, so you make your stop a little bit lighter than theirs, and you get stopped out, but they still stay in the trade and they win the trade. And you're thinking, oh, well, I took their call, but well, you didn't take it exactly as they took it. Okay? But that's a whole nother subject. But I'm in outer space right now, not with emotions, but just in like unknown territory. Because at this point, you know, I've never experienced it to this condition of getting this amount of calls right, if that makes sense. Because if we think about it, just on what I've been personally sharing on my YouTube channel here in the stock market, what were some of our losers and our winners? We had Five Below was a loser. The tariffs really rocked that trade last year. AMD was kind of a bit of a short-term trade, but that was a loser. It dipped further than we wanted. So we had two losers this year in the stock market. But the winners, we've had S&P, we've had Chewy, we've had Tesla, we've had Dollar General, and now we've had ARM. So you can get to that point. So now that I'm at that point, what's it to me to do to progress my career in investments and trading? It's to keep working on my craft and slowly start building that capital up. Because at some point in your career, you have to start profiting from your successful calls. And we've made a little bit of money in the stock market this year, even with having those 5 winners and the 2 losers so far. But it's not anything that's substantial, okay? Because when you just have a small amount of money, if you have $200 and you make 20% on a trade, okay, well, yeah, you made $40, but, you know, is that $40 on that trade that took 2 months to pan out? Is that going to pay your bills? Does that mean that I should quit my job? No. But it's on the right path. Okay. Because in the stock market, you know, it takes a large amount of money to really get some substantial returns on that. So it's just interesting tidbit I had. But ARM, absolutely gorgeous. Last time we were talking about ARM, right around here, we were just discussing how, okay, we're kind of formulating this little weekly trend down here. Okay, we've kind of bounced from it. And I cannot remember exactly what I said in the video. I think ARM had go ahead and bounce. I think it had bounced from that trend, and I had said the best scenario is it to come back to this box here and take some additional positions there. But if you see that, it almost got to it, but it never even pulled back that far. It just kept bouncing from that weekly trend. And we had a take profit up here. And as of yesterday, it hit it. So look how long that took to play out, though. That's back April 15th, all the way till the beginning of July. A little over, like, almost 2 months, 2.5 months for that trading idea to play out. But that trading idea, that paid like 75 to 85%, depending on where you got in down here. 85, 95, 100 on where your buy was, your average buy was. So ARM absolutely was a beautiful trade. So here's another one where, okay, we make $30 off this, whatever, no big deal, you know. How's that going to change my life? It's not. But like I was discussing earlier with what happened to me 2 years ago on watching the market make some beautiful moves without me in it at all, and I didn't capitalize on any of that. At least the second round, I had capitalized a little bit. So going forward, all I can do is just continue this same path. On the next time I see opportunities like this, setups like this, I already have a backlog, so to speak, of past trades that have worked in my favor using these ideas that I have. So I will be adding even more to the trade next time. So it's all relative, and it's all depending on your situation. You know, somebody close to me, they told me, why do I even waste my time making videos? I'm not a profitable trader. I have less than $1,000 in all my trading accounts combined. So how am I coming on YouTube and making videos? Okay. It's like I keep saying, it's almost more for me than anybody, but I love talking about the markets. I love sharing ideas about the markets. I have an excitement and a passion for the markets. And I love just discussing the markets, because I know that over time, this will be all I do for a living. But the universe has just willed its force upon me and forcing me to go my own path on a consistent daily basis on figuring out what works for me. Okay. And sometimes you just have to, I don't know, you might have good luck with, just taking calls from people. But that never sat right with me. I did that in the past, and I remember one of the first times I did that. This was at least 3 years ago. A person had put out an idea, and I had matched that idea, taken the same trade that they did, and it paid. And I was like, all right, that trade worked out perfect, beautiful, okay. But afterwards, it just didn't sit right with me. Personally, I couldn't handle that fact that I wasn't able to formulate that idea myself. And it wasn't until like 2 years ago, when I was talking about before, back in 2023, when I had a couple of personal ideas that nobody I saw online was talking about. Nobody in any of the 3 groups I was in were talking about. And only I had those ideas, and I saw those ideas play out perfectly. Bam! I knew, my friends, that's the moment when my career went from learning how to do this to I am going to do this. This is where I will be in the future, because I knew I had an edge on the market. And now that I have more conviction of having an edge on the market, the only thing to do now is to continually work on my personal issues, my behaviors, and growing my capital over time. And I hope everybody enjoyed my little rant today, my little story. Beautiful day, coming up on a 3-day weekend. Won't be putting out anything, just having a great time. I'll be busy working, painting, but other than that, it'll be a good time. I love everybody, and we will talk to everybody on the next video. Peace.